Hello and welcome back on part 2 of the main highlights presented by Phillips in association with Back Russo. And in this episode we are going to talk about some pretty serious and exceptional timepieces. And I have to admit that being able to see up close and personal all these incredible timepieces is a real and immense privilege for me. I am very fortunate. So well, let's get back with Mr. Bacs as soon as now.
Still talking about Patek Philippe, another treat for the treasure hunter is this pin called 2497. Reference 2497 was the world's first perpetual calendar wristwatch featuring center seconds. It was a development by Patek Philippe based on caliber 27 SC, their caliber featuring center seconds, to which underneath the dial a perpetual calendar module was added. In total, only some 180 watches were made, but combined yellow gold, pink gold, white gold, platinum, and the same movement was also used, still with these 180 examples, for its sister reference 2438-1, the waterproof version that has a screw back. Pink gold examples of reference 2497 are very rare. We can guess today we know some 20 examples on the planet, and this here is actually completely fresh to the market. And what do I mean by saying fresh to the market? It's not just that a collector had it, we all knew it existed, it was featured in our database. No, it's a watch that has vanished since it originally sold by Patek Philippe over half a century ago. The watch was made in 1954, and as things didn't go as quick as these days, was not sold for 6 years. In 1960, eventually, an order came from Sydney, Australia, where someone apparently requested a 2497 pink gold, but with a detachable pink gold bracelet and luminous Dauphine hands. These two features are not at all common for reference 2497, and I can't recall having seen another pink gold example with such a combination, and especially with the luminous hands. In 1960, when the watch reached Australia, it was sold to its original owner, but already 7 years later, probably in about 1967, the watch was sold at a public auction where it was bought by the father of the current owners. According to the family, their father paid a hefty 1,000 Australian dollars back then. That was quite a serious amount of money. And he had it then subsequently serviced in Geneva by Patek Philippe, we think in about 1969. So this first service after 9 years. And since then, the watch was locked away in a vault. In a vault in Sydney, Australia, and only in 2016, last year, the children of the purchaser back then took it out for the first time. It is to me an amazing privilege to offer this watch. This is the type of watch that get us, the passionate specialists, the nerds, up every morning, because we never know what's coming around the corner. But it's also a privilege because it shows us what Patek Philippe was able to do for their clients. It also shows us how a watch looked like when it was delivered to its first owner. These Milanese type bracelets, as you can see in the camera, are very thin, and with wear they can quite easily be broken, damaged, and this bracelet is as rigid and perfectly smooth as the day it was delivered. So I would believe that in its entire life, spanning over 60 years, the watch has probably not seen more than an accumulated month of wear on someone's wrist. Isn't that remarkable? And this is a type of watch that I still believe is worth buying, as it is, in my view, proportionally undervalued compared to other references. And I am really pleased that such a beautiful watch is part of our auction this coming May.
Something interesting to be pointed out is that we often hear about these vintage timepieces being almost as mint as the first day when they came out of the boutiques. They were not worn too much and immediately stored in safes. So what does it tell us about the relationship at the time between these original owners and these objects?
We do not know what the first owner had in mind when he bought the watch and eventually didn't wear it. But when speaking to original owners, we often hear the same story. This was already back then considered a treasure, something special. And no one would wear that type of important, valuable watch daily to go to the office, to go to work, and maybe even do physical work. It was the watch you would wear on special occasions, maybe to the opera, maybe on a holiday. And I think in general, these watches were held in much greater respect back then than we treat them today. I remember my own grandfather who would wear his Omega during the weekdays, but his Patek Philippe, he would at best take it out on his own birthday and maybe on Christmas Eve. And I believe this was a part of the worldwide culture back then.